This segment shows a small portion of the exposure blending for dynamic range that I do in the tutorial. For this particular part of the blending, I'm painting a mask using a luminosity selection that I generate with the TK Actions V6 panel. Okay, the next job is to bring in the sky and the water. And that's coming from this layer up here. But I want to use a luminosity selection to do some painting to paint in that exposure. And I think I want to make that selection from this version of the image right now. So we can load that composite rapid mask again, and that looks pretty good, but I wonder if some of the color channels might provide better separation between the sky and the land. So we can look at the red channel, that looks better. Green, no, worse. Blue, even less separation. But I think the red channel is going to provide the best separation. And then I wonder if, the lights 1 or the lights 2 is better. Boy, lights 2 has great separation with the land and the church. And in fact, that might be the way to go, but it needs some modification. So I think I would probably come down here and maybe let's try curves again and see if I can bring up some parts of that sky without over lightening the mountains and what we've got going on there. We've got a little bit of stuff to deal with up here in terms of those dark clouds, but I think this is going to work out okay. We'll try it. So I'm going to come up here now that I have that rapid mask. I'm going to come up to this layer and turn it on, but then I want a black mask, not a white mask, because I want to just paint in the sky instead of painting out the land. I can either fill that white mask with black, or I can just come here to this button. This is the add and remove mask button. And this side adds and removes a white mask, but this side will add a black mask. So there it is. And then that rapid mask that I generated right there, I can now just load that as a selection. So there's the selection. I'm going to hide the selection lines. And on that black mask, I'm going to paint with a white brush. And I want that brush to be nice high opacity, so that's 0 to get 100%. On the keyboard, I can just type 0. And I'm also going to zoom out one level just so I can kind of see the whole image as I'm making passes. So I'm going to make my first pass here and paint in the sky that much. And what you'll see is that first pass did that to the mask. But if I continue to paint with white, I can paint more or push more paint, more of that white paint into the sky without affecting the mountain very much. And that's how variable selections like this or feathered selections work. So I can keep painting and really get that sky painted in well. And I can also paint across the water and do the same. But let's back that up and go back to the image view so we can watch it happening. Okay, so there's one full pass. Click again. Here's a second full pass. And click again. Here's a third full pass. And I think we brought in the upper sky pretty well. So that started our masking. But at this point, I'm going to now deselect that luminosity selection. And I'm now just going to freehand paint on the mask at a lower opacity, maybe 30%, to finish bringing in the rest of this part of the exposure down here at the bottom, and especially down here in this corner where I can get this all the way to white. And I also want to load my sky and mountains selection now and use that to bring in the mountains just a little bit darker, I think. We'll see how that looks. So I'll hide the selection, and at that, well, let's just go 20% opacity. make a couple of passes across the top up there and bring the darker mountains in just slightly. Now I'm going to deselect that selection, just have a look at the mask and see how it looks. I think it's looking pretty good. I want to make sure that I get the sky fully masked in so I can load my sky selection and just paint with the 100% opacity white brush and just make sure that all of the sky is there. I don't want to mess with this transition zone along the water though, because that's not a hard edge selection. So I can deselect and go back to the image view. And let's see, I can hold down Shift and turn on and off the mask to see. And I definitely think I want to bring in the mountains even just a little bit darker than they are.